In relation to wolves in sheep's clothing, false teachers and false prophets, Peter pens on parchment these words. Bold and willful, they do not tremble as they blaspheme the glorious ones. Whereas angels, though greater in might and power, do not pronounce a blasphemous judgment against them before the Lord. But these, like irrational animals, creatures of instinct, born to be caught and destroyed, blaspheming about matters of which they are ignorant, will also be destroyed in their destruction, suffering wrong as the wage for their wrongdoing. They count it pleasure to revel in the daytime. They are blots and blemishes, reveling in their deceptions while they feast with you. They have eyes full of adultery, insatiable for sin. They entice unsteady souls. They have hearts trained in greed, accursed children. Forsaking the right way, they have gone astray. They have followed the way of Balaam, the son of Beor, who loved gain from wrongdoing, but was rebuked for his own transgression. A speechless donkey spoke with human voice and restrained the prophet's madness. In our reflections today, as we again dig into the hugely challenging narrative of the second letter of Peter in the second chapter, we want to consider the depravity of false teachers, the depravity of wolves in sheep's clothing. And the first thing I want to invite you to note today is that the revile against those in authority, verses 10 through to 12, indicates that for us. They are presumptuous, they're self-willed, they're bold and willful. They do not appreciate the principles of authority and submission. Wolves in sheep's clothing, false teachers, feel no need to submit to those over them. I could mention people who in the last couple of years have had to step down from ministry, national ministry, even national youth ministry, because there has not been an accountability structure in place. They felt no need to submit to those over them. They speak evil of the things they do not understand. If the scriptures condemn those who speak evil of fallen angels, what does that say of those who speak evil of fallen individuals, whether they be church leaders or civic leaders? And I have seen, even in the last 2 or 3 weeks, those who in civic life have fallen because of sin, because of greed, because they have not kept to the word of God. So may Peter's words encourage us and indeed challenge us to be very careful and very diligent about these things. They revile against those in authority. But the depravity of false teachers, of wolves in sheep's clothing, is seen further in the fact that they revel with great pleasure. They love to revel. They love to indulge in sensual pleasures. They count it pleasure to do so in the daytime. It just highlights how depraved these individuals to whom Peter is alluding are. Friends, we need to take note that these people are not serious about the Word of God. They revel, they love to carouse, they love to, as the King James Version says, love to riot and to sport. They count it pleasure to carouse in the daytime while they feast with you. They take advantage of gatherings with Christians with skillful deception. Again, let's be careful who we allow into the flock. We need to guard the access to the flock. They have a desire for lust, for pleasure, for the desires of the flesh, for they have corrupted eyes and heart. Their eyes are full of adultery, writes Peter, taking advantage of the immature or the less mature. Their heart is trained in covetous practices. They're skilled in how to get what they want, and what they want all pertains to the flesh, as implied by the term adultery. And they also revolt against the right way. They revile against those in authority. They revel with great pleasure, going after the things of the flesh. But they revolt against the right way. Verses 15 through 16. They've forsaken the right way and gone astray. This phrase of Peter lends support to the idea that these false teachers were once Christians. These false teachers were once Christians, but now they are wolves in sheep's clothing. It's hard to forsake what you never had or to go astray if you were never in the right way. But these people to whom Peter is alluding were in the right way, but now they have gone astray, following the way of Balaam. Like the prophet Balaam, they were swayed by the wages of unrighteousness. And here Peter is making a bit of a play, I think, on words, because he uses the same phrase earlier in a totally different way. Verse 13, the wages of unrighteousness refers to the eternal compensation or condemnation, perhaps, one receives for their sins. The wages of sin is death. Whereas in verse 15, the wages of unrighteousness refers to the momentary compensation one receives for their sins, the fulfillment of fleshly desires. Peter is making a play on words here. But remember that Balaam was rebuked and restrained by a dumb donkey. Yeah, a dumb donkey who spoke. Numbers 22, verses 22 through to 35. Balaam was rebuked and restrained by an animal, by a dumb donkey who actually spoke. How much more we should therefore take heed when the voice of an inspired apostle speaks. When Peter, who seeks to rebuke and restrain the madness of false teachers, pens his letter. We need to take heed from the inspired apostle Peter, from what he wrote, from the warnings that he articulates. The depravity of false teachers. They are depraved in their mind and in their heart. Tomorrow in Teaching Truth, we'll look at the deception of false teachers, those who are wolves in sheep's clothing.